Hello everyone and welcome to the February edition of the Property Market Update. As always, I'm Rob.
And I'm Al, and boy do we have some interesting statistics for you today about what's going on in the Oxfordshire housing market.
Absolutely, Alistair. So let's dive straight in. So first of all, the Bank of England base rate remained steady at 5.25%, which was pretty much money on with what the expectations were.
Yeah, that's what they're expecting. And there's no surprises there, but what will surprise a lot of the listeners and viewers is that you can actually get a mortgage. If you're a first-time buyer with a decent deposit, you can get a mortgage for 4.39%, despite base rate being 5.25, which is kind of insane. And if you've got a decent deposit, if you're a second-time mover, and you've got 40% plus equity, you can get it for even less, more around the 4, which is just mental. That's 1.5% lower than base rate, 1.25, sorry, but lower than base rate. Yeah. So amazing.
Which is ridiculous, really. And really, speaking of first-time buyers, we've seen a huge increase in first-time buyer registrations and first-time buyers coming to the market. A whopping 65% increase in first-time buyer registrations, which is brilliant for the housing market because, let's face it, it's the first-time buyers that really help prop up that bottom end. Yeah, as we always say,
it's not even the bottom end. Sorry,
no.
They buy the 2 beds, who buy the 3 beds, who buy the 4 beds, and the odd 4 bed goes on and buys a mansion. So it's this whole. It gets the whole market moving when the first-time buyers are back.
They're the building blocks of everything, aren't they?
And do you think? I mean, one of the key things here is the cost of rent is absolutely astronomical. So you've got a young couple, they're renting a little flat for £1,200 a month. You can buy it for and it will cost you less, and you're paying your own mortgage, not somebody else's. So that is interesting. I'm off topic. Go on.
No, that's absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. So we've obviously seen recently that the Tories are trying to find other ways of bolstering the housing market. You've had some interesting.
Yeah, so they've got their 99% mortgages that they're proposing for first-time buyers. This is again, we're in an election year. They're going to want to get the energy. We're not going to go into politics, but probably so they don't lose by such a landslide. They want to have some sort of positivity. They're talking about 99% mortgages that are government-backed for first-time buyers. So this is just going to help perpetuate that energy and that momentum. I'd love to know in the comments if you think that's a good idea or not, really. But we're on the fence. Pros on one hand, things will be even more energetic this year than anticipated. The cons, on the other hand, is if you give an artificial stimulus like that, then when you take it away, you get this spike and then a return to normality, and that's not ideal either.
No, absolutely. But moving away from politics, we'll talk house prices. So nationally, house prices again have been on the rise, and they've nudged up by about 0.7% into February. Now we don't have sort of Oxfordshire specifics on what Oxfordshire's doing, but the home counties seem to be remaining pretty steady.
Just kind of flatlining. All the home counties.
Whereas areas like London and more rural areas, so Cornwall and Lake District and those sorts of areas, they've actually seen a dip in their house prices.
Why do you think that is?
Principally, it could be the reverse COVID effect, if you like.
Right, okay.
Certainly in those rural areas, people who have moved out to those areas are now having to move...
relocating
back because, let's face it, a lot of industries now, you only have to turn on the news and see that people who were working from home are no longer allowed to work from home or have to work from the office more frequently. And is there
and also you move to Cornwall thinking it's going to be amazing and roses in the sunshine because you go on holiday there, and then actually you're like, we're not. This isn't where we want to be. But also, I guess artificially pushing the prices up because there are people fighting, ex-city people fighting for properties, and then there's the return to normality where people are like, well, I'm not prepared to pay that much in that location, and they'll come down more abruptly.
Absolutely.
We mustn't forget about rents. I've already talked about rents being very high. They have been climbing, but the rate of increase has slowed down. So Q3 last year, they increased by about 3%, and this is in Oxfordshire. And then in Q4 last year, they only increased by 0.7%. So a really marginal increase during Q4, which is basically nothing. And that's just the first indicator that supply and demand balance is returning. But it's also, there's a lot of constricted affordability there because rents can go up and up and up, but people have to actually be able to afford them in order to pass referencing and stuff. So yeah, we've seen a slowdown there, which I think is probably a good thing for quality of life of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, last but not least, this is just again going back to mortgages. We need to know what's going on with mortgage markets, but mortgage approvals are on the rise again for the third consecutive month. They're up, which again, it's indicating a healthy flow of property transactions, a healthy flow of people moving, and a healthy sentiment that buyers are having moving into the rest of 2024.
And we've certainly seen that on the ground, more sales.
100%.
We agreed more sales in January than we did,
in the previous,
just for a long time. It was
all of 2023.
It was just amazing. So yeah, it's good thing. There was something you were going to ask. Oh no, it was something I was going to say. You must like and subscribe, and I'm not just doing that whole like and subscribe thing, but I did promise that I was going to put out a video explaining that why I, as somebody with 25 years experience in the property sector, why I'm going to be buying buy-to-let investment properties this year. I was going to put a video out on that. I said in January's update I was going to do it. We've been too busy, obviously, in order for me to do that, but I have put the first slide together. I will promise you that that's going to be coming out. Like and subscribe, and that way you'll be notified when we do launch it. And on that note, thank you very much indeed for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Right, take care.